Good evening, everybody, and welcome again to the Borderline Podcast with me, your host, Andrew Willox. I hope you've all had a fantastic week for all the wonderful things that you've no doubt done for everybody else. I do hope that you've done something for yourself as well. If you're joining us for the first time, then welcome, and if you're returning from last week's, then even better. I can't believe that I've actually got you back. Oof, I'm doing something right. So so coming away from the ghost stories from the other night, we're going to go back to a more serious topic tonight. And I want to talk about side effects versus the effects of antidepressants, SSRIs and SNRIs, the slight little difference between the two of them, which I'll cover as well. But before I go into tonight's episode, I just want to maybe spend a couple of minutes and look back at myself for the last week. How's my mental health been? How have generally been over the last week? And it's a good time as well. Maybe ask yourself the kind of questions, is there something, have you had a really good high? Have you had some really bad lows? And assess them amongst yourself. So yeah, pretty good one for me. Peace season ended. Fucking finally. Jesus Christ. Honestly, sorry if it is Sunday for saying that for any religious folks. We'll respect that. Yeah, that was a horrible season. Well done to anybody involved, either side, whether you're at the field or the factory. Whew, horrible. Anyway, yeah, so that's done with. So it was nice to get back to 8-hour shifts at work. I must admit, that was really good. Work, yeah, generally quite fine. Mental health, generally quite fine this week. A little bit of head noises, as described last week towards the end of the week, maybe. Obviously, I took my double dose of citalopram on Friday, which was, a bit of an anticlimactic, to be honest. Sorry. Tad thirsty. Anticlimactic. Shouldn't say that. No. Went to sleep for a good couple of hours, and Friday after work, I was pretty groggy. Whether that had anything to do with it or not. And then, I did wake up at 3 o'clock on Saturday morning for you to seen the Instagram video of the leg workout. So I suppose although I felt fine, either side of the coin, you could look at that, I suppose. But generally quite good. And what a performance as well by Scotland just now as well, giving us the whatever chance possible we need. There's going to be some effort to get out of that group, but it is possible. And no doubt the boys will keep on going until the end. So that's me for the last week. We'll crack on with tonight's episode and we'll talk about side effects. And, I'm not going to patronize anybody by saying what side effect is. We all know what side effect is. And they're usually very negative. Side effects, any abnormal, whether it be a mental or physical change that you go through from taking some sort of medication. So it's really hard to distinguish in a mental health case what's the side effect of a drug and what is the effect of a drug, and again what is just the general level of anxiety that person has experienced, because you have to factor all these things in when you are, as I say, I'm the worst at analysing myself, but I'm always trying to be as honest with myself as possible too, which is really key when you're doing things like this. So if I look at myself, I get I'm on citalopram, 40 milligrams. The effect of that is good, but my anxiety isn't as high. But also a side effect of that is that I struggle with low libido. So you see where I'm going? But when I have bad days, I still struggle with mental health. Now that's not a side effect of the citalopram. That's me. My serotonin reuptake isn't quite getting there as it should be. So you have to analyze from all sides as well. Okay, so especially when going through side effects. So if you're starting out and if you're starting out, maybe you've been to the doctors and you've went down the CBT route and it's not really quite for you, and maybe you're going to go for the first time with some sort of medication, maybe an antidepressant. And more commonly, you're going to be offered I would probably say citalopram or sertraline. At around about 10 milligrams is usually the starting dose, right? But the really important thing that everybody really does need to respect and listen to is that you will get side effects. If you don't, you're an incredibly lucky individual. it's almost, mine's were pretty immediate. The very first time I took citalopram, the next day, I mean, I was loving life. I mean, I was really fucking, Joker smiling, walking around work, walking into a -18 cold store with a t-shirt on, going, yeah, come on, lads, fucking love the bee factory. Again, enough said. And then I went home. I did as well. And I think it was off for the next week because the side effects got that bad. No, really, they did. Yeah. What? Sorry, I'm trying to stay on track now. In general, feel not to draw too much comparisons or controversy, but for those that have had the COVID-19 vaccinations, the side effects, the kind of that achy, horrible kind of rundown feeling, that's generally, kind of the same sort of side effect that I would say that I got off of citalopram. The only difference is it lasted a shit ton longer. So citalopram, this thing went on for like 2 or 3 weeks, which is why I think a lot of people end up coming off of them so soon. And again, why citalopram specifically is called the suicide drug, because it happens like that people go on it with, and they're not given the warnings, they come off of it cold turkey, and the anxiety is then far too fucking high for them to handle, which is really sad. So yeah, just always be wary if you are going to start out on a course of medication. The likelihood is that you are going to get some sort of side effect, and I can't really go over every side effect you get, because there's hundreds of different types of side effects. The main ones for me, it's a general kind of flu feelings, achy, just horrible, really bad anxiety. I didn't, did I get the suicidal thoughts when I first went on citalopram? Possibly, maybe minorly, but I think that's because I was conscious, because I knew that it was known as the suicide drug, because I'd done my own research, so probably my anxiety doing that to me anyway, if that makes sense. Judith is one horrible bitch, isn't she? She really isn't nice. Cruel. So, SSRIs versus SNRIs. So we've got selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors versus selective norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, I believe. I think I've done that right. So the difference, obviously, the compounds is one's serotonin and one's norepinephrine. Although venlafaxine contains both, which is obviously another quite common one that I'm hearing a lot more people going on to. There's somebody quite close to me that's quite currently starting off from venlafaxine, seems to be doing quite well. I can't say that for certain, only they would know how they really truly feel. The difference with the norepinephrine is it's supposed to give you the energy boost off the side of the serotonin as well. So, maybe if you have struggled with low energy levels, then that's where the norephrine's been introduced to kind of maybe bring you back up to normal slightly. So, but again, be wary of that there is side effects of that, and one of the side effects of that would be the complete opposite of what it's trying to do. So you would be quite lethargic and run down and mundane and whatnot. Sorry, I keep on running out of breath tonight because I keep on holding off a burp. There we go. God, I'll try and edit this bit, I swear. I'll try and do a little bit better with my editing. I've really been lacking, haven't I? So another one is sertraline. I can't speak good of sertraline whatsoever. I'm not a doctor, and there will be people listening to this that are on sertraline, and sertraline works for them, and that's absolutely fine. And that's another thing to remember, that just because you do one antidepressant, don't think, oh no, I don't want to go back to the doctors because that one didn't work for me. The next one is probably completely different, and there is legwork that has to be done to find that one for you. Let's say I'm on citalopram. I'm happy where I'm on citalopram. I'm on the maximum dosage now. So really, the next step for me is to go and look for another antidepressant, which would probably then be venlafaxine. Do I want to make that switch? I don't know if I'm mentally or physically ready to do that to myself again yet, because I know it's going to be an awful couple of weeks, and I ain't even getting anxious just thinking about it, so I'm not even going to think about it. I'm going to not talk about that. But so sertraline, Sorry, I never get sip of the Fanta. Sertraline for me did not have a positive experience whatsoever with it. I went on sertraline last Christmas time, and I was only on it. To be fair, I was only on it for 3 or 4 weeks, so obviously I would have been getting side effects, but they were extreme side effects. I've never had anything like it. Schizophrenia type pseudo hallucinations, as they're called. I touched on them last week, but the microphone's that fucking shit. I don't know if anybody could actually hear it. So I kept on getting a lot of like pseudo hallucinations, and especially problems with my speech as well with sertraline. That I'm not saying I was talking gibberish sometimes, but it's really hard to pronunciate my words, and my memory, I was losing, chain of thought honestly, like every, 45 seconds to a minute. Like, try to hold a conversation, it was impossible. I was totally zombied there. Totally zombied. And, just couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Just worst feelings ever. And, that's when the mix-up happened, because I came off citalopram, because citalopram wasn't really working for me at the time. And really, I should have just went and increased my dosage there and then. That was the first mistake I made. And so I went to the sertraline, but unknown to me, I was taking quarter the dose of citalopram of what I was originally on because of the weaker dose of sertraline. So was it the sertraline, or was it the fact that I just pretty much been taking off antidepressants cold turkey? Who knows? And that's why I don't really trust the doctors. That's for another episode entirely. Yeah. Enough said about that one. But again, your dosage as touched on there, is totally dosage dependent. So I went from like 30 milligrams to 40 milligrams of citalopram. Now, I would say 30 milligrams was brilliant, although I was still getting quite bad depression. Sorry, pardon me again. So I was still getting quite bad depression on that. And that's why I ended up going up to 40 milligrams after I had the really bad breakdown. But I've noticed that on the 40 milligrams, I get generally a few more side effects, which can be obviously a lot more hyperactivity, especially in my brain. Ever since I've been on 40 milligrams, I can be there, and then I can just be not there and just totally distant. So I noticed that there's a little bit more of that on 40 milligrams. So sleep as well. Sleep's been really, really, really tough one for me. And my appetite, like I've touched on, but they are getting better. One thing that I'm so fucking happy about now that the bee season's over is that I can have a routine again. Like, I'm OCD possibly. Like, I absolutely live well by a routine. It's actually one of the reasons why I was looking down the Buddhism route early in the year. I laugh, but I shouldn't laugh, because I felt that if I live under kind of strict kind of guidance and rules, that I perform really well. So that's why I looked at Buddhism for that kind of channel of life, but kind of a little bit more free to my own spirit now, if that makes sense. Sorry, and I obviously totally wandered off there yet again. It's my podcast, I don't care. Who gives a shit? And it's Sunday night. So effects and side effects, that's what I was titling the video as. So, and this is a really important one. And one that, if you're on antidepressants, if you're not on antidepressants, if you've had a bad experience, we can probably all relate to anyway. Now, one thing that we have to remember very well is that these are only raising chemicals in our body. They're only trying to bring us to human level, to normal level, to human level. How patronizing. So we're still susceptible to feeling like shit. Now, if you still feel like shit, then there's always the chance to change, and always look for the change in medication. There is always other routes. If that's something that maybe you can change in your own life, then definitely do it. If you're maybe overworked, then maybe try taking a step back. If you maybe feel that you're struggling with cabin fever, get yourself outside, vice versa. There's tiny little changes that we can do for ourselves with that, and we probably should be more responsible of, but it is hard. It is very, very, very hard, and I respect how hard that is. So so anxiety is obviously the hardest one, because anxiety is a side effect of an antidepressant. Now, this is where it gets slightly complicated, or I think it's slightly more complicated, probably overthink it, is that I struggle with anxiety. My antidepressants, my SSRI, brings me up to what is close to as normal as possible. The serotonin reuptake is working as normal and closely as possible. So I'm still susceptible to anxiety. But when that anxiety hits, it is fucking so much fucking worse. Like I tell you now, when I'm on 40 milligrams now, when I get anxiety, it is a shit ton worse than 20 milligrams. So this is where, it gets complicated. That yes, I can still feel anxiety, but the side effect of the anxiety is that it is much fucking worse anxiety. So be conscious of that. And that's why I think a lot of people struggle so much, because there isn't the information out there and there isn't the help out there when people start taking these drugs. These are scary, strong drugs that need to be respected, and they're so easy to get. I mean, they're so easy to get. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't get them, but the help once you get on them is, it's absolutely, it's ridiculous. And this is why, nurses, I'm not getting on at you guys. You guys do a fucking amazing job. This is why general doctors and that need to do fucking better. I'm sorry, but you do. You have a responsibility. You have a responsibility for us. And, that is your job. You took the fucking oath, not me. Stick to it. Ran over with that one. Sorry. And, people get thrown off of them, and that's what's worrying. And like I say, if sertraline had been my very first antidepressant, I probably would never went and tried another antidepressant. And how much worse would I have been now? So there's that. And I know that happens to so many people as well. Like, I know people that talk about this. And, they feel let down. They don't bother going back to the doctors either, because, what's the point? I'm going to feel like shit. And, it's fucking right enough. You are going to feel like shit. Who can you blame? I thought my rant was over. It clearly fucking wasn't. And sorry, I might have just blew somebody's eardrum out as well with that little laugh. So apologies for that one. Right, I'd better move on. Oh, no. I've got a slight little script in front of me, and this next one's going to make me fucking rant as well, isn't it? Right. Alcohol. I'm not just saying this because I'm a reformed man. I sank 2 ciders with that rugby game, and I'm proud. I wasn't even remotely tipsy. Bloody beautiful though, fistly crossed ciders, elderflower. Proper good ciders them. If you're a cider fan, and not to endorse alcohol on a mental health podcast, but I'm telling you that the nice cider. Not the strongest. It's nice and light. So, we're now going to talk about alcohol and its side effect. Oh my God, Andrew. Get better at this, please. You're going to do some harm, you absolutely fucking blood. Right, I'll try and proceed. This is not perfect in schlag. Right. Alcohol is a tough one, because 9 times out of 10, when people have alcohol, you wake up with a fear on the Sunday. Most people do generally wake up with some sort of anxiety on the Sunday. That is massively, again, heightened for those probably on SSRIs. I cannot feel sorry for people in that state. I'm sorry. If that would then be your reason to then decide to come off an antidepressant is because you like to go out too much, then you have to reassess how seriously you're taking your mental health in general. Like, I'm sorry, but you can't complain about your mental health if you're then freely going out as a free spirit. Now, I'm not saying that has to be, you cannot go out. I'm not saying you can. I've got zero control over what anybody does anyway. But this is just my opinion on it. At the end of the day, cut down what you go out with. Help is there. If you struggle mentally, and you really struggle mentally, then it's just simply not worth it. And it doesn't mean cutting out alcohol all your life. Like I say, I don't drink as much. I had a couple of drinks a day. I loved it. Extremely cut down. Like I've probably cut down like around 98% of my old consumption. You don't have to be extreme at that, but moderation is so key. And because alcohol is a massive antagonist with SSRIs. Like I say, you're taking an antidepressant, and then you're flooding in a depressant. Your brain chemicals can't diffuse what's going on, and that is your responsibility. So please, if your mental health is really serious to you, then, and you do like to drink, then you have to take a step back and look at that for yourself. And of course, there's always help available with that sort of stuff as well. So, but you know, the effect with alcohol as well with me, obviously, I was the other side of that, and that's what I'm saying, that I was drinking every single weekend, and this is what I'm saying, that I didn't respect it, and this is eventually what can happen, and it is fucking scary. Like, and I'm not saying in 6 months' time you're going to be sitting here in a bedroom on a Sunday night doing a podcast, but you can go through some horrible shit, and it isn't nice, and honestly, it isn't worth it. Especially an IMO. It really isn't worth it. The banter is good in IMO. Like I say, it doesn't really matter where you are and who you're with, as long as there's generally okay people out in IMO. You can have a decent night. That's it. That's as far as I'm going. Right. And yet, like I say, that alcohol as well is a massive antagonist of why people come off the antidepressants. So because people like that lifestyle, and people, they have them, and instead of having the 1 day hangover, they have 2 3-day hangovers, because there's that much of a side effect of taking the alcohol, and to the people it just simply isn't worth taking the antidepressant, because they're like doing the things at the weekend too much. And we're all human, and that is fair enough as well, but like I say, in moderation is key. It is massively key here. So I think I would just in general want to talk a little bit. Sorry, just taking another little sip. Just in general, what I'll talk, because the quality was so bad, just talk about kind of the effects of really bad anxiety that I get, and probably the worst one. I know that I'm going to have bad anxiety when I start sweating. It's like the telltale sign. My hands start getting a little bit sweaty, and then it's like somebody just turns on the tap from every single pore in my body. It's disgusting. I just flood, and obviously with that you dehydrate, and then you get the shivers, and it's just absolutely horrible. But again, that isn't a side effect of any drug that I'm on. That is just the effect of really bad mental health, or preempt mental illness, whatever way you want to look at it. Like, so the main side effect is obviously low libido, but guys, as like I say, I will be honest, there is stuff that you can do. Something that I was prescribed was tadalafil. I'm not too sure if I'm saying that right. There's obviously herbal roots that you can look down, but there's absolutely ways of sorting that out. That ain't the end of the world, guys, so don't let that put you off. And girls, it works both ways as well. And yeah, so like shaking, I get really bad convulsing when I get really bad anxiety. I don't mean like shaking epileptic fit, like start convulsing, but my legs jar up, something horrible, and legs, I get that horrible neck twitch. And probably off the low libido, like I say, erectile dysfunction, Jesus. That was a new one this year. It's not a laughing matter. I just try to desensitize it with myself slightly, because it was so confusing for me at the time. I'd say that's how I ended up getting prescribed the tadalafil. I still can't pronounce that. As well, it genuinely, if your penis could suffer atrophy, then that is what was going for me during that breakdown. Jesus, it reverted. It was going home, like it was going into the belly button. Oh no, I cannot believe I'm talking about that. Right. Right. Jesus. Okay. And low testosterone as well. It's a big one. obviously my podcast last week as well wasn't the best, but it wasn't the best quality. And something that I talked about there was taking SARMs at one point. And again, that was during taking antidepressants, obviously. And that came with side effects. And obviously, for anybody that knows anything a little bit about SARMs, selective androgenic regulator modulators, right? I think something like that. They can lower your testosterone. I was smart and I did get blood work done, which was generally quite fine. But I have had my blood work done since, when I have, because I know what kind of range I've been in. So I do get my bloods taken whenever I kind of feel quite low. Medicheck online does that. So it's, really good advert if anybody wants to get their test taken and find out where it's at. Because, that's another stigma area that we're kind of getting into, guys, is TRT and whatnot. I'm very pro TRT across the board, but again, the NHS doesn't quite see it that way. So yeah, I'll do obviously a lot more talk on the SARMs. Probably going to talk about for the gym episode and stuff like that. There's definitely some messages to get with that one. I'm definitely not there to slate them either, or anybody that uses them for that matter too. Unless you don't do it properly, then I'm going to slate you. Like I did. Jesus. I've got a fucking cheek, don't I? Anyway. Right, finally. I kind of want to talk one thing that really works for me, whether it be I have a bad side effect or a bad effect of anxiety, is, of course, meditation. Now, I don't know how many people have tried meditation. I don't know how many people were willing to try meditation. I don't know how many people have tried it and found it beneficial, have tried it and found it non-beneficial, not very beneficial to them. But I'd certainly encourage everybody to try every or many different types of meditation. There'll be obviously a lot more videos over the next couple of weeks about meditation because it's a massive key area in my life now. And I would really like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put a link on this video somehow once I figure out how to do it. I'm not too sure how to do this. To a really good narrated meditation with David Attenborough on YouTube. And I say that because it's really handy to, if you're starting out to do a narrated experience, just so there's somebody there, control your breathing nice and gently. It's really nice and just guide you the way through. And it's really handy as well that it's David Attenborough because it's a recognizable voice and it's not a horrible, AI voice or anything like that you think is going to come out the computer and eat you. And that's a genuine fear of mine now. I should not watch the news. I started watching the news every day again, and now AI is coming out to fucking get me. I just bought a new laptop. I don't want to get any kind of virus from it or anything like that from touching it, so I'll probably wear a mask around it or something from now on. But yeah, try some meditation out. It's really useful, but always learn about it a little bit more because there's so many types, and don't just cross your legs, hum, close your eyes and expect something to happen. Look at it. Look at the different breathing techniques for the different types of meditation. Look at the types of meditation. Transcendental meditation is really handy for me because although it doesn't put me in a deep state of meditation, it allows me to talk to myself in a way that I don't think I can consciously. And while to somebody that listened just now think, oh my God, this boy smoked far too much fucking weed today, I'm telling you, it works. It works. It genuinely does work. And I'd certainly encourage everybody to try. So I am going to link, although the link isn't transcendental meditation, it's more medial. You're gonna try and visualize something, and it's only 12 minutes long, but I can guarantee anybody that does try it, you will not believe that it's only been 12 minutes that you've been lying there. You will feel refreshed and you've rejuvenated, and hopefully you'll feel anxiety free. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And oh God, I don't know why I keep on, have I been a little bit nervous during this episode? I don't know if that's been picked up in my voice or not, because I keep on running out of air when I'm talking. Yeah, Jesus. There we go. Give myself a minute. Fucking hell, Andrew. Again, it's not a rush. You just sat here. I've also, that's how unfit I am as well. I've just booked some PT lessons with Sean, so fuck. That's going to get the anxiety going leading up to that. I am so unfit. I kind of got that little buzz going after the after that fun run. I don't know what. Nothing fun about 5k on that course. It's nothing fun about 5k in general. My views on running like that is long gone. Like I was all for doing the Great North Run again, but nope. I'll walk it. I'll walk it. No, I'm not even going to walk. No chance. Maybe one day again. I've also got some really fun ideas that I'll start sharing for Movember coming up. And I've got a call in Seattle and Access sometime this week because we've got a couple to share. And I'm going to put a couple out on my channel as well on Instagram at Andrew's Anxiety and Venture. That's everything that I kind of want to talk about with side effects tonight. So hopefully you've got something out of that. So I kind of want to take a little bit more serious approach with it as much as I could. And I'm sorry if I've kind of jarred up a couple of times with my voice. Like I say, I'm starting to get better at this, but it's all come over time. And as you know, I've not got my camera rigged up again because I've got my camera rigged up for next Sunday's episode. Because next Sunday's episode, I'll have a special guest on. That special guest will be Bella, my new dog. Yada, yada, yada. I know, I can't fucking wait. Definitely will only be using the dynamic mic for that because you'll no doubt be barking the house down. But, that one will be fun and experience. I really cannot wait to get her on Friday. So, also on my page, watch out for constant dog spam on Friday. Moving forward for this week, what we got on? Not a lot, actually. Not a lot. Quite looking forward to the gym this week. This is now that I'm out of the pieces and into a routine, I can really start to kind of focus on a bulk again of some sort because eating's been generally better, but I've been attaining my calories in one big sitting a day, and like nibbling on shit the rest of the day for the last however many weeks. So it's certainly not been a healthy way of doing things, but it's managed to kind of keep the weight on just now. So I can't complain. Sorry, I'm really, really, really gassy tonight. And I really don't know how I edit that stuff out, so you're just going to have to bear with me. Right, guys, that's all I've got for you tonight. Hopefully be on for another fun one we use with everybody through the week. If anybody's got any suggestions, fire them across as ever. If anybody wants to appear on the podcast as ever, just give me a shout on Andrew's Anxiety and Venture over on Instagram. And remember, guys, until the next time that I see you, keep on doing everything you can for everybody else, but do remember to do something for yourself as well, guys, okay? Right, I've been Andrew Willox, your host. This has been the Borderline Podcast. I love you guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.